Greetings, YouTube. Happy Tuesday evening. I've been working for the past couple of weeks on a side project over a champion that I self-admittedly have seldomly used and know very little about. And, I feel like even as a YouTuber with a, decent following, I only play like 6 or 7 champs on average. And they're kind of the champs everybody plays. Hyperion, Blade, Stark Spidey, Ghost Rider, OG Vision, Star-Lord, Corvus. I enjoy it, and it's fun. But that means that there's a lot of champions that get overlooked on tier lists and just in general that I don't use and therefore don't utilize nearly as well as I could. And that's why if there's ever a champion that you feel like is just being ignored by the YouTube community at large, let me know via the Line app. And there's an awesome guy by the name of Kale Enix, who has been a Morningstar believer since she came into the game. We're talking about the fact that he went for her fully with her 15,000 featured crystal. Remember back in the day when you could get a champion for the price of 15,000 5-star shards like we are doing with Blade now. Pulled Morningstar not once, not twice, but 3 times. Instantly started with the SIG 40 and has her up to SIG 100. Now he is going in this alliance war as a stud in that center lane, including Node 29, which you don't know anything about Node 29, even in the gold tier, it is the hardest node arguably on the whole map. It is really tough. People often put Killmonger on there, which is how I want to start this video off with the Killmonger Node 29 fight. Now I want to preface this by doing a couple of things, and I have a whole page of notes. Thankfully, Kale basically Skyped with me and tried to teach me everything he could about this champion because he is a believer in Morningstar and wants the community to know, especially Awakened, that Morningstar is a god-tier Alliance War attacker. This is somebody that he uses to take down basically any major mini-boss or main boss in Alliance War, and he has not died with Morningstar in like seasons and seasons, maybe even like over a year. I don't know. He's that good with Morningstar, and he is so crucial to our alliance. Kale, I'm so happy you are in it. Okay, so the synergy team with Morningstar you'll see is Angela and Mephisto. Mephisto's synergy gives Morningstar a bar of power instantly to start off the fight, and then Angela, the buffs last 20% longer. It's also worth noting that he has 4 out of 5 points in Mystic Dispersion for his Mastery setup. Now, these videos were sent to me via the Line app, so they're going to be a little grainy, but I think you'll be able to see enough. And you'll see from this Killmonger fight starting out that we have the ability to go in, and I think at this point he has captured 4 souls and just do work. This is one of the most common enemies on Node 29, a Killmonger. Someone that, especially I'm sure when you get to the Platinum and Master brackets, is even harder. But Morningstar can do great work in those brackets as well. Now, the first thing that Kale wants you to know about Morningstar is that his goal is always to instantly get to the Special 3 as quickly as possible. That's going to do a number of things, but it also enables him the chance to pull the opponent's soul instantly. Now, you're going to notice that he's just doing a really good job of baiting and dodging specials as normal. You saw him bait a special 2, and now he's going a counter on the special 1. Now he's countering a heavy attack, rinse and repeat. But the damage, it's, not God tier-esque for the moment, but it's going to turn around very, very quickly because you'll notice, first and foremost, he is stealing the life from the masochism. As he is attacking, he's actually healing himself up and using the masochism node against Killmonger and lessening Killmonger's own healing ability through that same process. A really amazing opportunity. Now, Killmonger is over half health down, and once again, using that lifesteal, getting the unstoppable, regenerating on top of it, and just in general doing great work with the Special 1, which is continuing to not only heal Morningstar, but take life away from Killmonger. At this point, we're almost a minute down, but it looks like a pretty safe bet. And you'll notice the power gain was also shut off pretty well at the end of that fight as well. So a one-hit KO, in which Morningstar took very little damage. Now we're going to watch some other fights that are pretty easy fights in terms of the opponent, but they're used to actually gain souls. You'll notice that Morningstar is starting with 2 souls on this fight against Mr. Sentry. Now, the Sig level makes her God tier mainly because not only does she start with 1 soul, but the Fury, power gain, and regeneration is duplicated, which reduces the potency of the opponent, like Hyperion's power gain, for example. So think about what, say, Void is able to do with Void's signature ability against Hyperion. Similar, and also sort of like Loki, where Morningstar replicates the buff and uses it to its full power, while you are making your opponent have at best a half of a % chance of actually using it at its full strength. Now, 2 souls, she becomes unstoppable after her special 1, which is another thing we saw in the Killmonger fight. 3 souls, unblockable special 2, which you know will wreck so many people, and that's generally when Morningstar is used, when they have a bunch of buffs on them, and then it just instantly melts them away by converting those buffs into direct damage. And then the special 3, of course, is still going to be able to enable Morningstar to steal that soul. Started the fight with 2 souls, is up to 3 souls, almost at full health, using that special 1, getting the unstoppable at the end, and just a fantastic way to melt Sentry, a very easy defender in general to go against. Now we're going to go up against an Iron Man Infinity War, and this is noted. Link noted, in fact. If you check out the 5x5, not only buffs, but the links, he wanted me to just show like the first 15 seconds or so of this fight, because even though the rest is kind of boring, watch what happens with Morningstar as he is able to start this fight with all 5 souls. And it's the Plagued Mind, Power Gain, Enhanced Special 2, Power Shield node. But because he is starting the fight with 1 bar of power, and he said if he had been boosted, he could have taken this down. But watch, instantly starts with the special 1. And so we're about 10 seconds into the fight, and he gets Iron Man Infinity War down to 3%. Now, unfortunately, the fight goes a little bit longer, because then from there, you got to build back up the special, and it becomes harder. But that could have been a 1 special KO at the start of the fight against a multi-link noted Iron Man Infinity War, one of the toughest defenders in the game still, because of the 5 soul power that is the God tier Alliance War attacker, Morningstar. Now we're going to see one more fight that is building up those souls. And I believe we are going to see, yep, a Guillotine. Another probably just there for strictly diversity points defender. But hey, a lot of people can pull a Guillotine on a 6-star crystal. So you'll notice the regeneration. What makes this fight so interesting is that he's going to try to get as fast as possible to the special 3 once again, just as I've said in every fight. Baits the specials, no big deal. Now at the special 3, immediately uses it. Gets that perfect plus 20% damage. And then eventually is going to wield her down. Now baits the special again, goes in for a counterattack, and you'll notice that the regeneration on her is far less than it was in the beginning of the fight. Uses that special 1, gets the unstoppable buff because he's up to 4 souls with her, and dodges the special once again. Notice that he is also at full health. The lifesteal has given him the ability to have any mistakes that need to be made in this fight. And so if you're going up against the regen champ, it is just a gift from the regen gods. Okay, now I don't know about you, but in my experience in Alliance War, there's 2 main bosses that you end up fighting, even now. Medusa and Korg, and I'm sure in the future as they become more prevalent, the Thing. Don't have any Thing video, but I do have video of both Korg and Medusa bosses from actual Alliance Wars that our Alliance fought. So let's check out this Korg boss. Notice it is a boss that is starting out with full health. This is the first shot at the Korg boss. And Morningstar has indeed gotten up to 5 souls. So this is Morningstar at her best against Korg at his best. And you'll just notice all the tips I've talked about. The 5 souls is great because there's a 20% chance on the hit to steal damage done as direct health. And so against Korg, you take damage on the heavy or medium hits, but in the middle of the combo, you'll get some health back, and you'll use that special 2 on the Korg boss to use his buffs against him and eventually melt him away as such. So, yes, he has already started doing about 14% damage about 30 seconds into the fight. He's going to bait those heavies and counter. He will take some damage, but the goal is to just keep spamming that special 2, and the 5 souls really makes it fantastic. Notice it's still just a lot of patience with Korg. It's not going to be a fight that's going to be down quick, but now almost 30% damage done, and Korg's special 2 is really easy to evade, much easier than the special 1, ironically. And so he's going to take some damage with the hits because you do have that Thorns-like damage against Korg, but he's already back up to the special 2. And basically, against Korg, Morningstar, you just rinse and repeat. Notice that he has been working on that special 1. Also that he had some lifesteal with him thanks to those 5 souls. Got that 20% RNG. Evaded the special 1. Rinse and repeat, trying to build back up to that special 1 or the special 2. Korg's health is about halfway down, and we're not even a minute and a half into the fight, so he is ahead of schedule in terms of not timing out in this fight. I'm trying to remember if he does a special 1 or special 2 here. It looks like he's building up to a special 2 for the moment. So, yes, at that special 2, once again, dodges that special 1 and looks to melt away the special 2, and that does a really significant amount of damage. 30% health left, a minute 14 in. I don't know about you, but at this point I would have been dead against Korg with most of the champions that I bring into Alliance War, even Stark Spidey, and he's going to do a really good job of just not only using dexterity to dodge the special 2, but staying close enough to Korg to where he will instantly counter because every second of this boss fight counts in terms of not timing out. Down to 8% health. At this point, feeling really good about the fight. Uses that special 1, and along with his assassin mastery, helps take him down. One shot, Korg boss, Morningstar, God tier Alliance War attacker. Now, as promised, I also wanted to show you the other very common boss in Alliance War, and that is Medusa. Once again, she's got the 5 souls. Starts with about 70% health. We'll keep an eye on that as the fight goes along. Now, it's just important, just like the previous fight, to get her power up as fast as possible. Living Strands is activated, baiting the heavy with the heavy, and check out that unblockable special 2. Not even worrying at that point about Medusa blocking it because of the amount of souls that she has on her. Remember, 3 souls enables the unblockable special 2, and she's got all 5 now. Now it's just a matter of baiting the heavies, but also making sure she doesn't get to a special 3. You'll notice that there's a lot of perfect block damage that is also enabled thanks to Morningstar's abilities. Baits the heavy, uses a counter to set up the special 2. Not really sure if the special 2 is going to give her full power, so really has to be careful. Now, thankfully, she throws her special 2, gives Morningstar the full special 3, which she chooses to get off right now. At this point, unlike the Korg fight, we're not even a minute and a half in, and Morningstar's already been melted down to 20% health. Really fantastic. So we're about at assassin damage range. The indestructible of the node finally comes in handy. I also want you to notice that we started the fight with 70% health, and Morningstar is ending the boss fight with 93% health, which is truly amazing. Morningstar has like a combat regen boost almost activated within her abilities based off of how many souls she has and using that life steal. So I know that it was a lot to cover. I'm sure there's even stuff on this page that I didn't have time to cover, but I showed you a variety of fights from the Korg and Medusa bosses to the pesky Killmonger on Node 29, and even just some fights to ramp up souls. Kale Enix is his name. If you have any Morningstar-related questions, especially for those of you lucky enough to have pulled a Awakened 6-star Morningstar, I would deflect them his way. Kale, thanks so much for taking the time to contact me and teach me as much as you can. I always feel like I learn way more from the community than you all do for me, and that's just a credit to how many great fighters and people in general there are in the MCOC community. So hope that this video you found helpful. I really do believe that Kale's gameplay shows that Morningstar is a top-tier Alliance War attacker, and with new champs and even like older champs that are still really good like Medusa and Iron Man Infinity War in the game, you want to have an Alliance War attacker that's going to save you potions and revives, and Morningstar with some soul ramp up awakened does just that. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a great rest of your Tuesday evening if you're watching this on the same side of the pond as I am currently recording it in.